Hello, this is James Calderon. This is my video on my research paper, which was my IT class at George Mason. This is My research paper was about VoIP technology, and VoIP is voice over IP. This is a very important technology nowadays, mainly because less and less people are using phone lines, which is the traditional phone system when you had to go through a switchboard and all that good stuff. So those days are over, and people now want to use the internet for everything. So the great thing about VoIP is that you get your internet connection, and that is your only connection you need, because you no longer need the actual telephone line in order to make voice calls. Everyone's very familiar with VoIP, believe it or not, because almost everyone uses Skype. Um, and Skype uses the internet, and it's a user-to-user interface. Not user-to-user interface, but it's a user-to-user service, and it helps people connect with each other. What's great about this is that since it's the internet, it greatly reduces the price of international calls. You don't have to go through each country's switching network. So it is more effective, and it is, of course, way cheaper due to this fact. Now, I chose the topic of VoIP because it is something I'm actually rather familiar with. I used to work in the communications field, as in telecommunications, and there we used VoIP for our purposes that we needed. We would set up phones and whatnot, and we put them onto a network server. Now, we were very mobile in this job, so for this reason, we always needed to set up and tear down these phone networks. And of course, if you had to use a traditional phone system, this is rather difficult because we also need internet where we went. However, if we wanted the switchboards, which is, gears for your old school phone, or as it's known in the industry, the POTS for plain old telephone system, POTS. You would have to bring a switchboard out there with you, and you would have to bring out a network switch. And with that network switch, um, and the telephone switchboard, that's just more gear that you have to go out there with. That's more that you have to set up. But with VoIP, the beauty of it is that we set up our computer networks, our internet networks, and we give one of those terminals to the phones. And so the phones have an IP address, the computers have an IP address, and off the same, what's it called, backbone, same, same network, we can both have our telephone needs and our computer needs taken care of. This was extremely effective for us. Now we don't have to set up two different systems. We can only set up one. Of course, it also physically means that we only needed to take out one piece of gear instead of two. And of course, these switchboards and whatnot, they're not light. These are at least two people to carry them out there. And it took a team of people to set stuff up. As we know, as we learned in our networking class, networking can be not difficult necessarily, but complicated. It takes a decent amount of manpower. For this reason, a VoIP phone, or using VoIP rather than POTS, was very advantageous to us. And of course, people are using it more. People rather use Skype. Apple, what do you call it? If you have an iPhone, you can use calls using Wi-Fi. And of course, that's another VoIP technology. That's another voice over IP. It's just a telephone call that you do over the internet. So if you take anything out of this, VoIP is nothing more than a telephone that uses the internet. And any voice communication that uses the internet, from Skype, WhatsApp, even your Facebook Messenger, which I've used with my friends a couple times when they've actually called me on that rather than a phone. That's another example of VoIP. and it's pretty interesting to see where it's going. Many people don't like their service plans, or a lot of my friends, sometimes we can't afford, or for some reason we forget to pay our phone bill. Phone gets disconnected, not a problem. We get on that Wi-Fi and we use the VoIP apps on our phones in order to make these calls. And more people are going that way. So some people are thinking like, why do I even need a text I need to text and make phone calls, because I don't use that. I use Facebook Messenger or Skype or FaceTime, and all that can use the internet. So I believe this is the way of telecommunications for the future, and everything is just going to be done through the internet. So it's pretty exciting technology to keep up with. It's been around for a while, but it's advancing. It's being more widespread and used more every day. And I hope this can be informative. And of course, this video is going to be on my website where you can read my paper. And I hope you find it interesting, and I hope you find it very informative as to and educate yourself, or help you educate yourself on VoIP technology. Thank you.